I am Helen Boyk, and I am the Director for the Center for Career and Professional Development. My support areas are graduate students, veterans, and alumni. I am joined today by my colleagues from the Center for Career and Professional Development, along with our Executive Director, Keith Hassel, and most importantly, my partner, who has been unwavering in this entire process, Patty Moran, who is the Director of Career Programming and Experiential Learning. She has gone through every phase of this process with me, and I cannot thank her. I am also joined by some senior leaders, Jim Barquinero, who is the Senior Vice President of Student Affairs and Athletics, and I am honored to have with us Dr. John Patillo, who is the President of Sacred Heart University. Additionally, we are joined by several SHU alumni and our pioneer partners who are going to be our mentors and mentees. It is an absolute pleasure to have you all here to kick off the second cycle of mentors and mentees as members of Sacred Heart University's Mentoring Visionary Pioneers Alumni Mentoring Program. The selected mentees in this cycle encompass all of our academic programs, and they have an average GPA of 3.9. The vision and benefits of this mentoring program will help our young pioneers develop career competencies, leadership skills, build professional networks, and also lead to possibly securing your first full-time job. Additionally, our vision for the momentum of this program was to start small and progressively build. We have started small, but we've progressively built to a 67% increase from first cycle to this cycle, which was less than a year because we launched May of 2020. The MVP program kept the mentees engaged from a career perspective because internships were canceled due to COVID. So this gave them another avenue to constantly stay engaged and keep their aspirations flowing. And we were able to add 6 additional cohorts to the main cycle, which is why our increase went in the direction that it did. These cohorts include physician assistants, social work, and some clubs as well, such as the Black Student Union. The alumni mentoring program, it gives a broader vision as a natural next step to our successful alumni job shadow program. I will now like to introduce you to Samantha Young. Samantha has an energy that is so delightful that she immediately makes everyone around her feel comfortable. Samantha is in the graduating class of 2022, working towards her degree in psychology. Upon her degree completion, Samantha plans to pursue a career in HR, which she is well on her way to accomplish. She participated in the first cycle of the MVP program as a mentee and was the recipient of the MVP Outstanding Mentee Award for her drive, dedication, and commitment to the MVP program and to her mentor, Chuck Marcelin, who was in the class of 2013. Today, their mentee-mentor relationship still continues. That drive, dedication, and commitment is what made her the perfect fit for the Career Center as its first volunteer intern to work alongside me on some of the events, as well as with Patty and I to put all the moving parts together leading up to today's session. I am proud to have her here to share some of her valuable experiences that has kept her encouraged. Samantha, I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Helen, for that introduction. So, hi everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Samantha Young and I'm a junior here. I'm a psychology major. I have an interest in human resource management, as Helen mentioned, and I was in your shoes summer of 2020 going into the MVP program for the very first time. So being a part of the first cycle not only taught me very vital career skills, but the program was an eye-opener for me as well. I was not as motivated and becoming the best version of myself in a career sense, but once Helen reached out to me, everything changed. So I was paired with my mentor, as Helen said, Chuck Marcelin, and he has been such an amazing resource for me. So both Chuck and Helen's efforts have taught me to reach for the stars, as cheesy as that may sound. So today I'm the Student Government Executive Board Secretary. I'm Vice President of Membership Education for Kappa Delta Sorority. I interned for Helen at the Center for Career and Professional Development. And I also, lastly, just recently got granted the opportunity to be an HR intern at Griffin Hospital, which teaches me absolutely everything I've wanted to know and more. So at Griffin, I perform background checks, employee verification, I help with hiring and onboarding, and I also schedule interviews for the generalists. So I owe all of these accomplishments to Chuck constantly telling me to go beyond my comfort zone and be a leader, as well as Helen constantly reminding me that my qualities will shine through any role. So take advantage of this experience. Your mentor will not only be such a vital source for you, but also they'll teach you so much about yourself as well. So I'll leave you all with my biggest advice. Take the time out and refine your skills that are both valuable and rare so that you can be so good that they can't ignore you. I'd love to now introduce Dr. Patillo. Dr. Patillo, thank you for coming today.
Thank you, Samantha. I had to find my mute button here. Samantha, you've done a great job, and I hope they heed your advice of taking advantage. I want to first thank the participants in the program, the students, and as was mentioned, we've grown. I think there's 59 or 60 in this year's group, and that's up from about 40, 41. So I think it's great. It's a fabulous opportunity for our students, and certainly they need to take advantage of this very unique opportunity because they're being mentored. And I want to thank certainly, I think this year I was told we have 36 mentors plus 6 industry partners. We couldn't do this program without their participation. And so as students, I would advise you that you really have at your fingertips the advice of some great and fabulous experience, not just in content, but in the social skills and the interactions that are needed as you prepare to enter the workforce. So take advantage of them. And to our mentees, our mentors, excuse me, I really want to say thank you. As I said, we could not do this program and it couldn't flourish if it weren't for your own involvement and dedication to our students. And so, again, I would just leave the students with Samantha's own words. Take advantage of this time. It comes by but once for you. You might as well use it. You have a one-on-one opportunity with some great mentors. You're going to hear a little later, and I want to thank her, Brittany Santella, who is a graduate alum and who was a mentor last cycle, I believe. And we'll talk about the mentor-mentee relationship. And I think you could learn a lot from listening to the experiences that are going to be laid before you as students. So with that, I guess I'll turn it back to you, Samantha, and thank you for participating.
I'm going to turn it back over to Patty.
Thank you, Samantha. Just a friendly reminder, if you can all keep your Zoom on mute just to prevent any feedback, that would be wonderful. Brittany Santella, I hope you're in the sea of faces I see.
Hi, Patty, I am. Thank you.
I want to briefly introduce Brittany. Brittany is the Director of Human Resources at Sectra Incorporated and has 3 years of experience working in human resources. Brittany is driven by working with and helping others. This love for people is what drove her to pursue a career in human resources. Prior to that, Brittany has 8 years of experience working in management, leadership, and talent development. Brittany holds a BS in Business Administration from Sacred Heart University and a certificate in Human Resource Management from Cornell. Brittany participated in the first SHU MVP mentoring program as a mentor. And without further ado, I will pass it off to Brittany.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Helen, Patty, the team for putting this program together. I'm really excited to be able to join you all this afternoon and speak a little bit about my experience as not only a mentee, but also a mentor, and hopefully to help you guys get the most out of your mentoring relationships this year. So Patty actually highlighted a bit of this, but who am I? I'm Brittany Santella. So I am the Director of Human Resources for a global software company, Sectra Inc. I graduated from Sacred Heart with a bachelor's in business and marketing over in 2017. And I also hold a few different certificates, one of them being a human resources management certificate from Cornell. Now, how did I get here? I have an extensive background in people development that started when I was in retail. I'll talk a little bit more about this later. It is relevant, I promise. And when I graduated, I started working at Sectra as their talent management or recruitment coordinator. Shortly after that, I moved into an HR role, and I've been in this role for about 3 years. In this role, I do cover all aspects of HR for the US, for Canada, but my main focuses for anybody that's HR on the call have been more so around employee engagement strategy, performance management, succession planning, training, and development. So all of that really good people stuff, right? So why human resources? In HR and honestly most other positions, you really have the chance to change somebody's life. So as Patty said, I love working with people. I love guiding them in their careers, their growth, development. But most importantly, why I'm here and in this role is because of the positive impact that I can have on a person if I do my job and I do it well. And I kind of want to highlight that part because this mindset was actually instilled in me very early on in my career by one of my first mentors when I started off in retail. So that's right, I was a mentee just like you, and I actually still am. When I was in retail, I worked under one of the most amazing mentors that I've ever had to date. He actually mentored me for almost 6 years through multiple different positions, different levels of positions, as well as different companies. He was an amazing leader, and he wasn't just a manager. So he led by example. He challenged me to be better every single day, to think differently, to have those hard conversations, ask those hard questions, to lead, inspire, and to develop my team. So he gave me a quote. It was actually the first year that I met him, my first year in a management role with him. So he told me, and this I think is applicable whether you're a manager or not, but managers light a fire under people and leaders light a fire in people. So just to kind of define, so what is management, right? So management is the process of dealing with or controlling things or people. Now, leadership, on the other hand, is defined as a process of social influence which maximize the efforts of others towards the achievement of a goal. So this quote, and I hope that you guys can take it and that it resonates with you, has been super important in building me into who that I am today. So I did want to share that with you guys. So now let's talk a little bit about the SHU Mentor program and how you guys can get the most of it. So there's a few things that I learned through mentoring and through this program that I wanted to share with you guys. So the first thing that I learned, and really, really important, you guys, be curious. So ask questions, put in the work, do the research. If you want to get anything out of this, it really does require hard work and commitment. As Helen had mentioned, I believe Patty as well, I was a part of the program last year. And it does take time, it does take effort, but the payback is just more than you could ever imagine. So be curious, ask those questions. Sometimes they're hard questions, but always ask them. The next feedback I have for you guys is be honest. So you need to be 100% honest with your mentor and 100% open to all feedback, whether it's something that you want to hear or not. Give your mentor the full picture of your challenges, your needs, goals, your accomplishments. This will help them to better understand how they can help you. Okay, so honesty is really important. My next advice is respect. So it's important to have mutual respect and a relationship to build trust on. So a couple things, be on time for your meetings, come prepared to your meetings, set and respect boundaries early on and at the forefront. And this is actually an interesting point that I did learn from Helen last year. So thank you, Helen. So save the times that you do reach out to your mentor for the big things and, make a list of some of the smaller questions that you come up with to ask at your next session. This shows that you respect that your mentor's time, that you're organized, and it also kind of forces you to put things into perspective and focus on what's really important to you. Another really important thing for you guys, know what you want. So before you get started, you and your mentor should set up some ground rules and establish a big picture goal and outcome for your session. So if you don't know exactly what you want to do career-wise or how to get there, that's okay. This isn't what I mean. It is a bit different. But what you should know, however, is what you want and what you're looking to get out of this relationship. So really put some thought into that before you meet with your mentor and be prepared to speak about it during your first session. I know that they'll really appreciate that and it will help them to mentor you better. Giving as well as getting. Understand that you're going to learn from your mentor, but also know that they're going to learn from you. It really is a two-way street. So be prepared to give that feedback. I know that COVID puts a damper on some of this stuff, but if you can watch your mentor in action, that would be super helpful for you as well. Ask them about their goals, about their career progression, and their experiences getting to where they are today. You can really learn from that, especially if they're in a similar role that you're interested in going into after you graduate. Use that advice. It will help you grow not only professionally, but personally as well. Okay. And then my last point for you guys, build your network. Having a network is so important. It really is all about who you know to a certain degree. So I got my job at Sectra actually because I knew someone who worked here. Again, tied back to retail, one of the people that had worked at the company, I actually met her from working in retail. She was one of my customers. So you never know who you're going to meet and how that person can impact you. So never burn your bridges. They can help or they can actually not help you in the future if you do. So once the program is over, if your mentor is willing, I recommend keeping them in your network. And then once the program's over, continue to build your network. Get out there. So join clubs, groups, meet people, participate in internships. It's so important. Get involved, keep learning. Knowledge is power. Be curious, hungry, and driven. Continuously work on ways to make yourself stand out. And I tell this to all of my interns too. So build out your resume and your LinkedIn profile. One of the tips that I give, if there's a certain career path that you're looking to get involved in, look at the job requisitions or the job ads that are out there. So if you're looking to become an HR manager, right? Look at those job ads that are out there. Look at the specific skills and requirements listed and start to build that out for yourself now. So if you see, a master's in human resources needed, you might want to consider looking into that. And then continue to create mentoring and mentee relationships. So as I said earlier, yes, I'm a mentor, but I'm also still a mentee. There's always so much that you can learn. So never be afraid to create those relationships on your own. If there's somebody or someone that you look up to, reach out and see if you can meet with them to talk about their career goals. So I know I only have about 10 minutes for today. So in respect of that, if you guys have any questions or you want to connect, please feel free to reach out to Helen for my contact information. I'm happy to go over any of this with you or even be a part of your network. So feel free to reach out and I'm happy to kind of meet with you on the side. But best of luck in the program. Again, optimize on this program. It's amazing. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Brittany. That was tremendous insight and advice, and just encouraging our students to stay curious and to establish and develop their network now. It's never too early to make this a priority. So I'm going to pass it back to Helen to continue on with our agenda.
Thank you all so much. Thanks, Patty. Okay, I know you guys are super excited to see who you're matched with. So without further ado, I am going to go through this. These are all of our varied academic programs that's represented by SHU Pioneers and who are matched with our alums and Pioneer partners. So here are our communication disorder group. An awesome amount of fun went into matching each segment. Here are our exercise science with either a PA track, PT track, DPT, or OT tracks. And everyone within our healthcare and healthcare administration, psychology, social work, and nursing, education and computer science, all of our creative field in digital communications, advertising, marketing, public relations is in this group as well. Here we have our media arts, sports and management, political science, and criminal justice. And finally, our business and finance and accounting group. So tremendous amount of effort went into pairing you guys with a great amount of fun. And I thank you all so very, very much. So now you have an opportunity to meet all of our mentees. So bear with me as I quickly go through these. you are now on a wonderful path to having great career success. So work collaboratively with your mentors, and there'd be nothing but greatness that will come from this. So thank you all for being participants in this program. And now I open it up to the floor for questions that either the mentors would have for their mentees, or the mentors, you know what I mean. Don't be shy. Everyone's here to help and support. So ask away.
Yeah, I can start. So basically, as we're all here, we're probably wondering the same thing, trying to figure out our career path. And as a second year student, did any of you as mentors imagine the career you are in right now? And that's where you would end up?
Nope.
Well, yeah, I think we're matched up. So I'll take your question. So for those that don't know me, I'm Ramon Peralta. I'm the founder and creative director at Peralta Design. I'm excited for this program. I love Keith and Helen, and I'm very excited to be in this program. So CJ, I will just say success is not a straight line. You know, I don't know that I would have started my own company had I not gotten laid off from what I thought was a very comfortable job. So, you know, they say you don't learn to fly in the nest. You know, sometimes you get kicked out, and then, you know, you start flapping. So that's kind of what happened to me. And I look forward to sharing more about my story with you. It is important to have goals and have a vision and have a general direction, but it's okay to take a bunch of different turns as long as you're learning along the way, you know. And for me, the biggest lesson I can share with you is it has to do with getting your foot in the door, like being in the industry that you want to be in ultimately, even if it's being humble enough to just, you know, put that elbow grease in from the ground. If you want to be a famous chef, you know, you might have to start out as a dishwasher, you know, and don't be discouraged if you don't get that cook job or that chef job, but take what else is available, because now you can begin to learn from, be around those guys or those women, and get experience from them, and work your way up and make relationships. And, you know, oftentimes people underestimate the soft skills that I think are so important that you can learn anywhere. You know, you can learn customer service and punctuality and teamwork at a Starbucks, right? And then you can apply that to a job at a company like Sectra, for example, or mine. So just learn along the way, and don't be discouraged if things don't go your exact way, because I think there's a greater plan for all of us, and sometimes we have to trust that it's part of that plan. So I'll share the time with the other mentors. But great question.
Thank you.
I think you were so eloquent in your response. Nobody wants to follow, which is great. We could take other questions for sure.
I have a few questions. Okay, so my first question is, do you think that there were any experiences that you had in college that were helpful in your career? More specifically, you found surprisingly helpful later on? That's my first question.
All right, I'm happy to take that question. So during college, I took it upon myself to try and, you know, because you're new in college and you have a new group of friends, you're away from home, so you have to take the opportunity upon yourself to, you know, expand your friend group, expand your contacts. So personally, me, when I was in college, I joined a fraternity, and then you try and take kind of roles in that fraternity or your group or your association to try and, you know, maybe leadership roles or roles where you can learn from others. You know, and those type of things help develop, you know, certain skills for when you get out of college as well, which are extremely helpful, such as leadership roles. Like I was the president of the fraternity when I was there. And you learn how to manage individuals, and you learn different ways to communicate with others, and you learn different skills which would be extremely helpful, you know, in the position that I'm in now. Right now, I'm an attorney. I work for a law office in Stamford, in Connecticut. I've been here for about 2.5 years now. And just those different skills that I learned from being in college and expanding my friend group, and you know, my leadership roles were able to assist me in going to law school and going through law school. You know, and being a leader in law school in terms of being on the judicial committee, being the chief justice, setting down different parameters and different rules, you know, for the school that I was in. But just different things, trying to expand how you see yourself and how you can learn from others and how you can shape your role, would definitely be something in college that, you know, it's something to build on for when you get out to get to a job, and how you can expand that job. You know, you want to climb the ladder, you want to be, you want to go as high as you can. You know, those are just a couple different things. You know, I'm happy to talk about others with you at a later point in time, but you know, this is just something that I had personally from my experience. I'm sure there's other people who as well, that are here, had their experiences in college or after, you know, to try and, you know, expand on those if they would like to.
Thank you so much for sharing, Victor, and good to see you. Thank you, Rachel, as well. Does anybody else want to add to that, Rachel's question?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind adding a couple ideas to that if you don't mind. So I was always pretty nervous in college because I was told from a lot of people that I trusted and admired and looked up to that I needed to be a specialist, that I had to be someone who had one very determined skill, that I woke up every day with the same passion and the same drive about one singular thing. And it just never fit with who I was. I just could never like just dig that deep into something and not have interest in other areas. And so when I was at Sacred Heart, I was a senator in student government. I was a research assistant. I wrote for like the newspaper. I was in intramural sports. Like I did all this different stuff that were so like all over the place. And I think what that taught me was a couple things. One, it taught me how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. So the fact that I was trying new things and different things, I always was kind of like uncomfortable about it because I didn't know it that well. Other people were always better at me than it. And that is a skill that I really value today, that has taken me all throughout my career and to where I am. And the other thing, I think there was actually a major benefit in getting perspective from all these different activities and learning about different things. And so like running a business, if that's what you ultimately want to do, or being able to work with multiple different parties and industries, you benefit a lot from having kind of like a breadth of knowledge. So if you're someone who specializes, like definitely specialize. But if you're someone who's sitting there and being like, you know what, I kind of like, I'm just interested in a whole bunch of things, those experience, that's me, and those experiences really help me.
Thank you so much for adding that, Zach. Tremendous. Any other questions?
Patty, I don't have a question, but can I kind of piggyback off of Zach's response too?
Of course, Josh.
Yeah, so I think throughout college, one of the things I had to refine, and am still refining it, but that has proven to be incredibly helpful, is developing some method for self-reflection. So I know for some people, so I work as a cardiac step-down nurse. I'm at Yale Haven Hospital. But it was interesting, I felt like a lot of freshman year, I wasn't really thinking back on whether it was decisions or how like something made me feel or how people made me feel. But I started actually seeing a counselor because I didn't really have a great freshman year. And that was something that they turned me on. They were like, start kind of having this way to reflect on sort of decisions that you're making, how you're feeling throughout different parts of the day or whatever it might be. Especially in periods of like, I'll use the word adversity, but whether that's just like failing a test or if you get into an argument or whatever it might be. And that was something that I ended up gravitating towards journaling a lot. I liked how I could do it anytime, anywhere, it doesn't cost anything. But I just started to journal and really try to keep track of my feelings, my habits, just how I was feeling around different people or with different activities. And then as I transitioned into practice with nursing, there's obviously a lot of times where you have difficult patients or you have a stressful 12-hour day that turns into a 15-hour day because you need to stay late or whatever it might be. We were a COVID unit for a while, so we had patients that died, or we had other patients who left and they were like great and back to their families. So whatever it might be, I think just trying to be like this active, like trying to take an active role in recognizing how you feel about different things, and you start to learn more about yourself. You can kind of decompress through hard times, and you can also give yourself credit maybe for things that you do well, whether that's in your profession or if you do really well on a test or like at a sports game, whatever it might be. But I think whatever that role is for you, whether it's meditation, whether it's talking to other people, for me, it's journaling. I think that's an invaluable skill that I'm still working on developing. But I'm glad I started that in college too.
Your advice is very timely for this group, so I appreciate you sharing that.
Sure.
Any other questions?
No, I just wanted to piggyback off of that as well. Hi, everyone. I'm Kim Seaman. I am a registered nurse as well. I just want to say to all of you that are going through college right now, I went into college as a psych major, and the one thing that changed me was just realizing that as much as I loved psych, nursing was my calling. So listen to those gut instincts that you have, because they're going to lead you in the right direction. And it's totally okay to love two things at once. And that's it. Good luck, guys.
So many in this room can learn from your journey, Kim, for sure. So thank you. Anyone else want to share?
I'll go again. I'll double dip real quick. I just, the students, I just want you guys to know that the grades that you guys have matter. You guys all said, hey, we were a 3.9 average. That's phenomenal. And as an employer, as someone that looks to hire people, that matters to me, because it tells me that you go above and beyond. You weren't satisfied with passing. And when you're in a competitive industry, and people say advertising is competitive, all industries are competitive. Every job is going to be competitive. You want to stand out. You want to be the best. You want to be the reason people, who they call when they need something done, if they know it's going to get done. All that work ethic gets nurtured in college. I remember literally having, there were students, friends of mine in my class that, did their assignment in class before the professor started teaching, and then there were others that were up all night doing it. And then, you can tell who puts the effort in and who doesn't. And so your employers are going to be able to tell that. So it's when they harp on you to do well and try hard and all this other stuff, it's gonna come into play later. And I also wanted to share that you get an opportunity to skin your knees in that environment right now, where you can have meetings with each other. And how do you resolve conflicts when you have meetings? So figure that out now, while it's not going to cost you a job. Are you someone that storms out of a meeting because you didn't get your way? If you do that in real life, you're not going to have a job very long, right? So conflict resolution, teamwork, thinking of others, selflessness, all these characteristics, they're all aside from whatever you're studying. There's so much more to it. And lastly, I'll say, when you do get a job and you are employed, and you work for a terrible boss, learn from that as well, because people they say people leave bosses, they don't leave jobs, and do it for two reasons. You'll appreciate a good boss when you have it. And then when you have an opportunity to be a boss, which I think a lot of you will, the fact that you're in this program is already indicating leadership. You're doing more, you're involved, you're going above. That's what leaders do. When you have a chance to be a leader for others, remember what it was like when you were being managed, and how did that leader make you feel, and what did he or she do to motivate you? It'll make you become a better leader. So I'll end there. Thank you.
Oh, that's great. And figuring out what makes a good leader is what the MVP program is all about, right? Your mentors are there to give you the signs and signals as to what would a good boss look like, right? And a good working environment and climate for you. So thank you for sharing that.
if I could just add one point, I'd like to answer on Rachel's question. I think obviously this is a first like good step in really utilizing the resources that Sacred Heart gives you to build those skills. I think that the relationship I kept with like the Career Center and everything while I was at Sacred Heart really helped me not only work on my communication skills with students of my age, but also talking with Helen really helped me to work on those skills when it came to like getting my first job and interacting with management and not feeling like I'm talking to someone who is they're above me, but I'm not feeling like the pressure of that. I feel like I can have an open conversation. I think that especially like the Center for Career and Professional Development, that really helped as far as working on those skills. So I think if you start using all those resources, you're definitely gonna show a benefit when you start your first job.
Chris, I love the plug. Thank you for that.
Great plug, Chris. Thank you. And he wasn't even prompted. Yes. Anyone else would like to contribute?
I would actually love to share a point. I'm not a mentor, but definitely what I learned from my mentor myself was there's a difference between skill and will. So you have to have this desire to learn. You may not have the skills right now that you desire to have in the future for your occupation, but if you listen to your mentor and you try to develop these skills and maybe go into leadership positions, that's definitely a big thing. Try different things, apply for everything. Like, especially with me, I applied for student government. Didn't think I would get it, but now I'm learning so many new skills from that experience, and these skills will apply to your later occupation. It doesn't always have to relate to it directly.
Can I jump in on what Samantha just said? One thing that I've been thinking this whole theme is the thing that I wish I'd done more of in college is just try everything, because you don't really know what the valuable experiences are going to be sometimes until you're 5-10 years out. So if you may find in like a painting class, that you really like one part of this that you'll then use as a nurse. I mean, I'm a publicist, so I don't know, but I think you don't know what you're going to kind of discover about yourself, and really like you might even think that you want to go in a different direction or go in a certain direction, and then find when you get that internship or when you join this club that actually like, I don't know that this is actually where I want to go. And that is really valuable too. So I would just say, try everything. You have time and it will all work out. And I think if you can, if you do follow things that you're really passionate about, I think it makes it a lot easier to get a job. And if you're in an interview and you're actually excited about the job, much better chance that you're actually going to get that job. So just pay attention to, as everyone is saying, to what you actually really like to do and follow your gut. You're not wrong on that.
How much, Anne?
I do have a question. Like Brittany said, she said she did retail a lot before she moved on to her current position. And I don't know if I'm just speaking for myself, but I think we're all around sophomores, and my resume is mostly filled with, those summer jobs, those high school jobs, working, saving money. And I haven't had too many internship experiences yet. As mentors, thinking back to when you were in college, are you happy with when you started focusing more on those career-oriented jobs? Do you wish you started earlier? I'd just love to hear more about that.
Can I jump in on this one too? It's, in my opinion, it's all about translating those skills. So if you like in an interview or, in a job, I was like a sticker checker at the beach, and that I could say like, I'm good with people. It was a customer service job. It's really, you can translate a lot of those skills, but I'd love to hear what other people have to say too.
I'd actually love to jump in on this one as well. For me personally, reach out to Patty, reach out to anyone in the Career Development Center, and also tell your mentor like your goal is to get an internship, because then you're making these connections and you're building your network. I went into my internship, they already filled the role, but I found common ground with the woman who was interning me, and I talked about career development. And I talked about all the people that I did know, and it ended up getting me the internship. So if you take your skills and you form like a personable connection with somebody, then it will go so much further.
Yeah.
Abigail, this is Brittany, just to kind of add on to that a little bit. So I think something that's really important with internships is it does help you to gain skills in a similar type of position or industry that you're looking to get into. So I highly recommend do as many internships related to what your end goal may be that you can. So like if you know you want to go into marketing, try as many different marketing type of internships, because one, you'll get a really good feel for what's out there in that industry, as well as you'll be able to build connections. It shows that you're learning different skills for the role. But going to what Anne said about the soft skills, right? Showing that you have a drive to work outside of school, no matter what it is, taking the soft skills that you learn from those roles, regardless of whether you're, you check stickers or you're working in a cafe, pull any relevant soft skills related to the position. So if it's something that's customer service oriented, talk about that, right? Like able to develop my customer service skills, high level customer satisfaction, use those buzzwords. I was in recruitment for a super long time, right? I always looked at resumes and mostly entry level positions with minimal experience. What I would look for is, did this person have some sort of job? Okay, I don't care what it is. Like, what did you learn at this job that could be relevant to those soft skills so that I can hire you and I can train you to do this job? So speak to that. Like, don't leave your resume open because you're like, well, I only worked at McDonald's. That's fine. Talk about your customer experience. And how that's going to help you in that role today. And then again, using those clubs, those internships, add all of that stuff in there because it shows initiative. And a lot of companies for these entry level roles aren't looking too much into the skill. It's great to see if you have some of it through internships. They're looking more at your attitude and your ability and how they can see that in your resume. And to Samantha's point, again, networking is huge. Utilize the resources that you have at school. One of the successful things that I kind of found was one of my teachers who I loved. He was one of my marketing teachers. I was really well connected with him, and he would give me the names of students that had graduated in the program that I was in that also had experience working at another company. And I would just reach out to them and say, like, how do you like the company? Do you know of any open positions? What are you guys looking to fill? Just networking with people. And they were all also very receptive. I mean, they were Sacred Heart students, you know what I mean? So reach out if you have a student or a teacher that you're really well connected with that you like stay connected with them because they could help you to kind of network with more people who have graduated from your program. And then of course, utilizing the career services at school, it's extremely helpful.
If I could just touch a little bit also, I wanted to talk about, sometimes when you're looking for an internship, you're not like, especially when, your guys' point in your time at Sacred Heart, you're not going to find exactly maybe what you exactly want as an internship as far as the full industry. For example, like I'm in accounting, and obviously there's two sides to accounting, auditing, and tax. And originally when I first started looking for internships, I really wanted to look for an internship on the audit side. And I was having trouble finding exactly what I was looking for. And I ended up taking an internship doing tax, and I actually ended up liking it more than I thought I was going to. And now that's, my career path. So I think as long as the internship has some real important, relevant aspects to it, you should still shouldn't close the door on any opportunity because you might feel that you might grow to like that particular job or internship more, and it might lead you to taking a position doing something like that in the future.
I think I'll just jump in and Abigail, I think we're paired together, so we can talk about it a little bit more. So I won't go too deep into it. But in my experience, I have been hired and now I hire the person based on like the person. So skills are important in my experience, but they're secondary. And so I wouldn't worry, knowing what I know now, too much about trying to match a specific skill with a specific job. Like, of course, that can be helpful, but you, the person, comes first. And so one of the examples I have is when I got hired at Edelman in Washington, D.C. That's like the largest PR firm in the world. I worked for them in D.C. and also in South Africa. When I applied for that job, they asked me, like, have you ever pitched a reporter before? And I said, nope. And they said, okay, well, have you ever worked in PR? And I said, no. I said, but I'm willing to find out. And I've done this stuff that I think is pretty relatable, although I don't really know. And they hired me. And now when I hire people, the last thing I ask them about is always like, what's their job experience? Like, what are your skills? Now tell me that. I want to know who the person is. I want to be able to trust you, think you're reliable, think you're interesting. And by the way, before I went to work at Edelman, I mean, I lived in China, like messing around for 1.5 years. Then I worked at like a public affairs firm. I had no PR experience. And so could it maybe have helped me? Sure, they would have liked to see that, but they hired me anyway.
We need to, Zach, we need to have you back to do some strategies on how to handle an interview.
Truly, like I learned a really good lesson on this early on. Like I was very, very lucky from my mentors who I still have today. Like that's why I'm a part of this. I believe in this so much. And he said like the first best thing that you can find is someone who likes you and wants to hire you. The second best thing you can find is someone who doesn't, because that means you clearly understand like who you are and what you want. And the best you can be in an interview is like genuine, because if that doesn't connect in the interview, you're better off than like being 6 months down the road and being in a much worse situation because you were trying to like gauge what they wanted and try to match that. So like as honest and open as you can be. And they just weren't used to hearing people say, no, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do the job I'm applying for. And I think that they thought it was honest. So definitely honesty and being as genuine as possible. No's are as good as yeses.
Thank you again. A lot of quotes we're going to have to consider putting into our future promotions for this program from this session. Helen, I'll pass it over to you.
This has been dynamic, beyond my wildest expectations. Thank you all so very much for the huge amount of engagement. Thank you for sharing so much of yourself and imparting all of this great inspiration. I know it's going to be very motivational to our mentees as they move forward in this program. Feel free to reach out to Patty and myself at any point in time. Our email addresses are on the screen right now. Connect with us. We're here to help and support and continue the guidance with this program. So thank you all very much again. If there's any time you have a need, have a question, have an ask, we're here for that. So thank you all. Much success. Probably in about the next half hour, you'll be receiving an email from me with everyone's contact info so that you can officially start this relationship. Much success and much luck. Go on and have a great time. And thank you all again, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.